Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Now let's give a warm welcome to our main speaker, Bara.
Hey, I'm Bara, and I'm definitely an alcoholic. I want to welcome all the newcomers tonight and say happy birthday to the birthday people, and happy Passover to the Jewish people, and happy Easter to the Christian people. Okay? Everything's covered. And stick with it to the Al-Anons. Because I am one of them. Actually, just a little story about what happened to me this week before I get to what I was like, what happened, and what I'm like now. I have a son who some of you have known through the years, and for the last 15 years, he's been in and out of camps, jails, and prisons. And he was out for 10 months the last time and was arrested 6 weeks ago for shoplifting. And because of his rap sheet, which is about this thick, they wanted to give him 4 years in prison for minor shoplifting. I don't know if you know, but a second shoplifting charge is considered a felony, regardless of how expensive the items. Every time he steals, he gets caught. I mean, if I was that bad a thief, I would have stopped stealing long ago. Unfortunately, I was a good thief. So Thursday, day before yesterday, he went to court a week ago. How nice to see you, Francesca. Thank you for showing up. Francesca is my son's godmother, and she went to court 2 weeks ago where I was embarrassed because it was in front of the same judge that I pleaded for his life 2 years ago. And he just finished serving the time on that. And I thought, how can I go back to the Santa Monica court to the same judge? They gave him 4 years in prison. And one of the 13 keys of success is perseverance. And when they said she couldn't speak, she begged and she insisted and she put herself at the mercy of the court. And she got a possibility for CRC, which for any of you that remember the Eagles Hotel, California, that's what CRC is. It's a rehabilitation for drug addicts. But the prosecuting attorney insisted that he was what she called a career criminal. Thank you. Some of you have been there and heard that? Okay. A career criminal, and he should go to prison for 4 years. So we went, Francesca and I and my dear friend David. We went to downtown Los Angeles in the wee small hours of the morning. I mean, for me, 9:45, I don't get up that early, really, unless it's for plastic surgery. Somehow they want you in there to be sedated at 7 o'clock. They never operate till 10. It's like show business. Hurry up and wait. So we went down there, and we sat around, and finally they got us in, and the three of us were prepared to tell our story. And there were 6, a judge, 3 cops, the prosecuting attorney, and a couple others. And what happened is I said, you know what? My son learned how to shoot heroin in your wonderful Bakersfield jail. He had never used a needle. He had never used heroin. He has become a much better criminal thanks to your prisons and your jails. I said, give him a chance. And I begged and I cried and I told them my story, which you will hear in a moment. And he said, you know, don't be responsible. The kid's 28. He's responsible for his own life. I said, yes, but unfortunately, when he was growing up, he did not what I said, but what I did. Kids are pretty smart. You can tell them not to do it, but they see what you're doing. You know, I'm hiding in the bedroom and the doors are closed in the bathroom for 3 hours, and there's points laying around, and there's cigarettes with funny smells, really funny smells laying around. Angel dust. So the judge made up his mind, and by the grace of God, he did get CRC. And as an Al-Anon, and I know there's Al-Anons out there, I might not have done the right thing, but I did it, and so be it. Now, a little bit about me. In a short 3-minute poem, I am an actress and a poet, and I own a piece of a business that's getting ready to go public, and all these are results of sobriety. And for Bruce, I have 5,553 days and 20 minutes, which breaks down to 15 years and 2 months and 20 days. And I gotta tell you, at this time, 15 years plus ago, I was living in the back of Joe's Scirocco. And it wasn't even a new Scirocco. It was an old Scirocco, and the rain was coming in. I got sober in January, and it was raining in this old Scirocco. And I was furnishing it, and I was very happy to be there because I was shooting a lot of heroin. And when you shoot a lot of heroin, you're pretty happy no matter where you are, until you come down. And I wrote a poem, which is exactly what my story is, which I'll elaborate on, but in probably a minute and a half, you can get a pretty good idea. No applause, even if you like it. I am not doing this to do a performance. It's just that I wrote this poem for a show I did, and it really tells my story, very succinct. I am a bittersweet tale of a Hollywood failure. I was born and bred in Tinseltown Red, and I bled it dry till I damn near died. Twisted, I enlisted my sobriety. Now it takes more than a name and big-time fame to climb my frame. But just the same, what game shall we play today? The master builder, the masturbator, the great creator, or Terminator? Man, I got scope when I'm on dope. My, pie in the sky. I love to get high. A little drinky, let's get kinky. A lot of smack, you're on the right track. Speedball, might not get back at all. Come on, get me ripe, pass the pipe. Come on, I'm double-fisted, twisted. I enlisted my sobriety. Now don't knock it, unless you tried it. 'cause I've tried 'em all from every stall. Perks worked, love lose. Tylenol 4 could open my door. And for real flip out, Hopper supplied a peyote trip out in space. And this is really a riot, a daily diet for many a year. Angel dust was a must. It's a miracle I'm here. Sometimes not so terrific, but beats the Pacific Ocean. And I got a notion that's where I'd be, twisted, were I not gifted my sobriety. And that's what it was like, folks. Thanks. I mean, I used all those drugs, and I used them daily, and I used them for 36 years. And thanks to the magic of plastic surgery, I don't look it. I mean, I don't look my age. I gotta tell you, I looked older. And there's people in here, there was a man in here that I went through Beverly Glen with 15 years ago. And I'm telling you this for people that are new and people that come in here in their 30s or 40s or 50s and think that life is over. It is. As you knew it, life is over. But I have a life now beyond what I ever dreamt possible, what I ever thought I could have. And most of all, I have a modicum of self-respect. I never had that. You know, the stuff on the outside, I lived with my son when he was 1, 2, and 3 years old in a house on the beach in Santa Monica that sold 2 months ago for $6 million. It was built by Norma Shear and Irving Thalberg in their heyday, and it was owned at that time by Joan Fontaine and Brian Ahern. And I had a Rolls Royce, I had the most magnificent home, parties, furs, jewels, and every possible moment I was sneaking to Gardena to gamble. The man that I was living with, I came home one night, he was sure I was having an affair. All of my possessions were on PCH. I mean, nobody comes home at 5 in the morning that isn't having an affair, except someone that was gambling all night in Gardena. So I had that Jones, along with a few other Joneses. Jones for saxophones, but that's another Jones. That's another issue. I was born here in Los Angeles. I went to school here. I went to 5 colleges, suffered indecision on my major all the time. You know, psychology was my original major, and then I went to the University of Arizona. I started at UCLA and then the University of Arizona, and then I went to City College, and then I went to Pierce College, and another college. There were 5 colleges. I never graduated, I never got a degree, I never finished anything. I was a great starter. And if you remember Silky Sullivan, the great finisher, this was the great horse of our time that would be 15 lengths behind, catch up and win. I was just the opposite. I started off great, I had many great ideas. I was always told I had a lot of potential. Does that word sound familiar? A lot of potential. And what happened to me was men. Got off on the men track. A lot of years I believed that to live in the glory or the shadow, I mean, if I told you the men in my life.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
Well, you'll have to read the book, but I'm sure that you would say I'm a liar or I'm bragging or whatever. The point is that half of these men are dead. Few of them died this year, and few in the last few years. And what happened was these men died, and who was I? I was the chick that used to date Frank Sinatra. I was the chick that got the ringside table because I was with Stan Getz. I was the chick that knew, hung out with and slept with Warren Beatty. I was the chick that got the table and got the accolades and the nods when I was with them. But when it was over, nobody gave a good goddamn. Who are you? You're yesterday's news. You're the old broad that used to go with the guy that's now married to the 30-year-old. Hello, Annette Bening. So, you know, I could have played Hedda Gabler. I should have played Hedda Gabler. But the point is that I have found through the years now that I can do it. You know, for the women in this room that have relied on the husbands, the boyfriends, to get their self-esteem, to get who they are and what they are, I'm here to tell you that you can do it yourself. Yes, ladies. You know, and the gentlemen will be happy to hear that we can do it ourselves too. I mean, we are no longer designated to be the kitchen, the cook, the shopper, to take care of the babies. You know, there's a lot of growing that has happened in the years that I have started with that thinking. You know, I grew up here. I started dating. My first boyfriend was Steve Crane when I got out of the University of Arizona, who owned the Lua. It was a very famous club restaurant on Rodeo Drive. I mean, it was filled with all the movie stars. They made the best strong one drink and you were on your you know what. And this was what it was about. You know, being with the star, the restaurateur, the guy that was on the A-list, so you could walk in and feel like someone. But you know, I'm here to tell you that it isn't really where it's at. We can be counted for ourselves, and I am not excluding men. I mean, men, I love men. God knows I love men too much. Women who love men too much. But that isn't the point. The point is that, you know, it's not going to say on my tombstone, she was the lady that was with, you know, Manny, Mo, and Jack. No, you know, it ain't, you know, I got to stand up and be counted for myself, for who I am, for what I can contribute. And what I have found that I can contribute. It's funny, I spent my whole life trying to be famous, and I ended up in an anonymous program. God has a sense of humor. You know, I hear people say a lot about God's will, do God's will. And for years I wondered, what is God's will? How do I know that I'm doing God's will? Well, if it's difficult and becomes increasingly easy, I find that it's God's will. If it's easy and becomes increasingly difficult, I find it's Bara's will. That's how I've been able to differentiate Bara and God's will. And the key to me is action. There is a chapter in this book called Into Action. And I many, many mornings wake up and it's dismal, it's blue, it's black, it's what am I here for? What's happening? What do I have to share? What do I have to give? My life is over. I count the years. And you know what I do? I drop to my knees. This is something I've just started doing in the last 2 years. Every morning before I get out of bed, or before I go to the bathroom, before I get the day started, and every night before I get into bed. And sometimes it's longer. Sometimes it's just thank you, God, for my sobriety. And sometimes it's thank you, God, that I don't have a migraine headache that I was bedeviled with for years before this program. And thank you, God, that I'm sober. And thank you that I live on the beach and that I drive a nice car. I mean, these are just the perks. Thank you that I'm not sitting in the park waiting for the man to come with the dope that might kill me or the cops that might arrest me. I mean, that was part of getting high. I got to admit, I love the edge. If I ain't on the edge, I am taking up too much space. That's the way I believed, and that's what made me happy. That's what gives me the rush. That's why I love to steal. That's why I love to shoot heroin. That was real quick. Things that absolutely right now get you right where you want to go. But unfortunately, like Bill shared, there is, and I loved your pitch, Bill, thank you so much. You know, the downside of shooting heroin or drinking alcohol or taking Quaaludes or Perks or whatever your drug of choice happened to be is that you come down. As above, so below. It is the law of nature. And speaking of the law of nature, for any of you that are into astrology, Mercury is out of retrograde today. Today is the first day of being out of retrograde. Hi, Francis. Thank you for showing up. You know, we've been a long time if you found that things took a lot more effort. You know, and I believe, you know, this isn't a meeting about astrology, it isn't a meeting about heroin, it isn't a meeting about men, but it's my experience, strength, and hope that I am sharing with you. If you don't like what I have to say, there's 2,412 meetings in the greater city. And we can, you know, go to another one and you'll hear a whole different story and a whole different method of approach and a whole different take on sobriety. I can only share with you my take. And what I have is 15 years plus from being a hope to die heroin addict. So whatever I'm doing is working for me. I sponsor a group of women, one of them in Australia that just had twins, a hooker on the street that I took to her first meeting, a hooker that now is married with children. What a gift. What a gift. I came off stage and got rave reviews and applause and a column in the newspaper, and it was not as heartwarming as when I got the picture of her and her 2 children. We are so lucky. You know, many of us will not make it. You know, I heard Clancy up here a few months ago say that most of the people in this room are going to die drunk or in an insane asylum or in a jail. And, you know, a lot of people don't agree with the Pacific Group or this or that, but Clancy has been around a long time. And, you know, I respect someone that's got a lot of years because they've seen a lot. We're the lucky people. We are the chosen few. When I got sober, Richard Burton died in the first week of my sobriety, and I wept. I did not know Richard Burton, but I knew a great talent. I knew a man that I was very, very sad to see die of our disease. Never found these rooms. His talent gone long before his years should have been. You know, if you got this seat, it's a gift. You got to hang on to it. And we've got to, the thing I've found too as alcoholics, I, for one, blame myself for my son, blame myself for the years that I lost, blame myself for the things that I've done to people. And these steps allow us to clean house, to be of service, to help others. Dr. Bob, who co-wrote the book of Alcoholics Anonymous with Bill Wilson, said this program in 2 words. Without pontificating, page 449, which is my favorite, about expectations. Expectations, yes. They are, what are they? They're resentments under construction. Yeah, that's what an expectation is. But Dr. Bob said this program in 2 words, and what they are is love and service. If I had 2 minutes to pitch, those would be the 2 words that I would say. Because I didn't know how to love. I still don't know how to love. Every day is a challenge. My parents told me, get them before they get you. Get what you can and get out. Don't trust them. My mother told me from the day she divorced my father, do not trust a man. I mean, I had to relearn everything that I was taught growing up in these rooms. I had to relearn it all because what I got a real bad set of messages. I got a father who thinks life is about money, property, and prestige. He's 88 years old, God bless him, and he still thinks that. And you're in another one of those things, you're in another one of those you're in another one of those Scientologies. You know, now it's 15 years later, so he's kind of gotten used to it, along with being a vegetarian. He's kind of gotten used to that too. But for years, you know, you're in another one of those, you know. So sometime we have to just take responsibility for our own lives. I'm so hooked into Daddy loving me and Daddy being proud of me. Even now at this age, I want Daddy's love. I want Daddy's admiration. I'm still Daddy's little girl. I mean, it's embarrassing. But I got to tell you the truth about me, because maybe there's some lady in this room that's still feeling these same feelings and is trying to do it for Daddy and for Mommy. I found in life, in my own life, that there are winners and people with excuses. And that's all. Yeah, Daddy left Mommy, I was molested, Mommy died of Alzheimer's at 63, Daddy fucked 15,000 women, he's a Scorpio, he's forgiven. You know what? It all breaks down to today, folks. Al Signs, here it is. Love that man, love his pitch. This is it, this is it. Here, right now, this is what we got. We're in the seats, we got each other, we got to learn to love, and we've got to learn to be of service. My idea of being of service. Before I got here, you got some idea what that is. Thank you. You know, we're either in love or fear, and most of the time I'm in fear. I'm in self-centered fear. I am afraid I'm not going to get what I want, or I'm going to lose what I got. And you know what, folks? If I got what I deserved, I'd be dead. And I think sometimes my son is working out my karma. It's a toughie. It's a toughie. But we don't get away with anything. And I think if we stay sober, I really believe if we stay sober, I know there's a God out there. I know it. And God is or God isn't. And that's the end of that story. And if you got a higher power, whether it's the tree or the ocean or a man with a beard, it doesn't matter. That man will bring you through, because I believe that's how this world was created, by a thought. Whatever we think about ourselves, about what's going to happen, about everything, we create our own reality. It's a big one, but how terrific to know that we can create our own reality. I think God created it, and He created us, and He created us to be sober, because we don't need. I never got high as I do in doing service, in doing what I am doing now. This is a greater high than shooting heroin and cocaine together for that great speedball. This is great. And every one of you in this room, if you stay sober, will be up here one day sharing your experience and your hope. You will all get this opportunity to come up here and tell your story, and hopefully some newcomer, like Arthur, who's sitting back there, that I'm so pleased showed up today, and all the other newcomers. We are so gifted. Many come, but few are chosen, and we are the chosen ones. And I pray that everyone in this room stays sober. God bless you.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.